Okay, we fixed it.
Hey, just as I picked up my ukulele to entertain.
Just as he got his. Was it a banjo?
Yeah. No, that's a ukulele. Yeah, yeah. I was just gonna muddle around with it to entertain myself. I never ever use it in my act, but sometimes I show up with a ukulele, and people are like, "Are you doing that on stage?"
Oh
And I'm like, "Oh
God.
God, no, no, God, no, no, don't be silly."
I like to do the same thing with a top hat and a bunny.
Nice,
Pretend I'm a
nice.
magician. That really pisses people off. Nothing. I don't know about you, but I hate it
Yeah,
when I hate it when I show up and they're like, "You're going up after the magician."
right, right. Yeah, or even a band or anything. Yeah, stand up comedy works best when it's got that format of a host MC to tell the people what it's all about, and then an amuse bouche in a feature, or sorry, in a middle act, and then your feature, your headliner. So following anything that's not comedy is too big an adjustment.
Yeah, it's way too big an adjustment, and it's
Yeah,
like the audience, they don't want a variety show. And if
no,
there's going to be music, it has to be funny music. And even then, like, sometimes if you have to go up after the musical comedian, they're like, well, what's your talent? I'm like, this ain't fucking
yeah,
Star Search. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's well, I juggle. I'm just not doing it tonight. That's okay. But like, I also find that most musical acts that I've seen, anyways, at this grassroots level, most of them they get up and they just change the lyrics to Riptide.
right.
It's like grab a ukulele and talk about my boyfriend, but it's really Riptide.
It's pretty common. It's funny
Yeah, I would have
because,
thought.
go ahead.
I would have thought you could at least come up with a couple of chords of your own, your own little melody to explore. But fine, parody's good too.
Yeah. I don't know. I like this business, but I find it's like there's like a handful of people like you who are doing it.
Mm,
And then there's like all these people, like I always say and it's true, there's like 4,000 people who identify as comedians in Toronto.
right, right, yeah. I get what you're saying, but and I'm now signed by Yucks, paperwork pending. I also work for Yucks as a sales agent. I'm now in comedy full time,
Congratulations.
and I thank you. And I achieved that because I've been in B2B sales my whole life, but also because I've worked my ass off for the last 10 years,
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
and every place that I went to, I got invited back. And I think that's what people I'm not the first one to say this, but there seems to be a new generation of comedians that are just full of confidence.
Yeah.
And I hate saying that. I hate sounding like the old guy who's dissing the younger generation because I don't get it, you know. But they go out and they do comedy maybe four times a month. They don't really have an act, but God, are they ever confident in what they're doing?
Yeah, they think they have funny things to say, but they really just have things they think are funny that the rest of us don't think are funny.
Well, there's a big difference between saying funny things and making your friends laugh and having an act that makes strangers laugh. There's two
Yeah.
different kinds of comedy. And I'll never be as funny as your best friend, Brad, the one that makes you laugh harder than anyone.
Sure.
As a professional comedian, what's humbling is I will never ever be as funny as that guy in your life,
Because you don't know
right?
the inside jokes.
You don't know the inside joke. I don't know. Yeah, half the time when you see, you don't know why they're laughing, but
No.
it's just so personal. And I think we lose that as we go on this wonderful video conferencing world of ours. I think stand up comedy and live performance becomes even more important. There, can we get some music in the background? Anthemic, maybe something from Patton.
Yeah, I think so. I think yeah, you're doing this slow build, and that's when you have to start speaking rhythmically like a politician. It's like we will start this project today. We will, you got to like get everybody start
Yeah,
clapping. Okay, okay, okay. It's
yeah,
time.
yeah.
It's time to clap
I
for
don't.
Dan.
But the other thing I wanted to say about that, and I think this is especially true of the Hamilton comedy scene, if it wasn't for the people that treat it as a hobby and come out and they do their three or four shows, maybe they run a monthly, and they're doing the same jokes they were doing 6 months ago, whatever. If not for those people, there wouldn't be shows for people who want to take it seriously to go on,
Yeah, we need
right?
them.
And yeah, yeah, yeah. And all you really want is to you know respect the grind, respect
Yeah.
the people that are working hard at it and trying to make something, even if you don't like their comedy, because it's all very subjective, isn't it?
We need those people like we need people to wash our cars, you know?
Well, I wouldn't quite want to put it that way.
I saw you going for the drink. I'm like, could I get him? Could I get him? I couldn't help myself.
Oh, I've been around funny people. And I'm quite a drinker, so I'll be okay. I pulled away. My pull-out game is real strong.
That was good pull out. That was a good pull out. I was like, could I get him with this? Let's see. Let's see.
That's perfect. So, what have you been up to besides gathering online hate from people who have nothing better to do?
That's most of my life, Dan, is just,
Is it?
yeah, I trigger the triggered, and it's a lot of fun.
Right.
You know, I like it. It's like, it's my full-time job, you know, and it moves the needle on book sales. So it's kind of fun because the more I poke the bear, the more books I sell.
You probably sold to a few pastors, eh?
Who knows? Who knows
They
who's
need
buying?
some fire and brimstone on it. So, what is their major complaint? It's that you're using the format of a children's book to deliver adult humor.
Well, but there's a group of people who believe that it's that I target children.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah.
And so my response to them is always, well, why would I target children? They're broke.
Yeah.
I don't want
Yeah,
they don't have Amazon Prime. They can't help me at all. They're of no use.
right.
Your children are of no use to me whatsoever.
That's right. That's right.
Other than to touch them. So, you know, I don't want to sell your children books. I want to groom them.
That's right.
Right. That's my plan.
Okay.
And so, you know, I say that stuff all the time, and I, you know, as you know, right, like, because I can explain this when I say this to you, you'll get it. In my comment section, I follow all the rules of heckling, right? So you don't accept any frames people create for you. You never get into a place where you're like, no, I'm not, no, that's not true, or you know, because now you've immediately lost. The minute you have to deny something is the minute you lost. So I get called a pedophile all the time, and I say. And I always ask them questions like, you know, I respond with like disempowering questions. I don't respond with denials. And then some fan reached out to me once and she said, you know, how come every time somebody asks you if you're a pedophile, you never say that you're not? And I'm like, well, because pedophiles are bound by honesty. We must tell the truth if asked if we are pedophiles. And so I avoid the question because I'm avoiding the truth. Like, what do you want? What kind of thing? Like, what do you think? It's like being. It's like asking a cop if he's Are you an undercover cop?
Yeah, exactly. But so not only do you invite the criticism, not only do you court it, you inflame it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. Nobody engages like someone who thinks you're a pedophile. Nobody will argue with you more than the person who is trying to convince you that you're a pedophile.
Yeah, say what you want about humans. They love a cause. You know?
Yeah.
They love a cause to get behind.
Yeah.
And to think that they're making a massive difference in the world. That's what really gets me about online commenting and formatting. Because, you know, I heard this a little while ago, and I think it was true, that when the internet started and comment sections began, for literally like the first 6 months, it was really healthy.
Oh, yeah.
And, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It was like, wow, we've done it. We've created a way for people to communicate all over the world. What did he just call me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then it just descended into this hell. But I don't know what people think they're achieving by engaging in this kind of thing.
Well,
right?
the problem is you have to separate the bots, right? Because there's like there's also so there's the people who think you're doing something wrong. That's usually not bots, but then the bots come in and try to figure out who you vote for. So, you know, like almost every day I see in my stuff, you know, oh, typical liberal, blah, 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 or typical MAGA, blah, blah, blah. It's like you can't even figure out who I voted for. And so you just immediately assume because you don't like me that I'm not on the same team as you voting wise.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's how narrow-minded, and that's a bot, right? 9 times out of 10, that's a bot trying to get people fighting over left versus right. And those bots They're from China. They're from Russia. They're trying to create civil war through internet hate, but they don't realize that you can't have a civil war if you don't leave your basement. And so the people who make these comments, the people who argue with bots, they don't leave the house. They're not.
Right.
They're not. Grab a gun and go fight the neighbors kind of a person. They're a stay in the basement and type person. So they're they're trying to create something that they can't create because you're trying to get lazy people to fight.
Yeah, they are people that are easily led, and I would put myself in that category. I see stuff on Facebook and the like, and I've tried really hard to curate. Like as soon as someone starts talking either side of the extreme politics, I just snooze them for 30 days, hoping that the algorithm will figure out that I'm only really interested in Liverpool FC and boobs. Come on, algorithm, I'm not difficult.
Feed me more thirst traps. That's all I want.
Give me a 2-for-1 chicken wing deal once a week, and Liverpool FC and some boobs, and I'm a happy guy, right? Stop with all the politics.
Yeah, we don't need it.
All the division. Yeah, and that's an interesting thing about bots and how prevalent they are, and how that's like they're shaping our society, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And eventually they'll be like our personal support workers. They'll be in our house. They'll be doing our chores for us.
And trying to get us to hate each other.
And trying to get us to hate each other at the same time. So the robot in your house will be like, your neighbor, I think he voted for the other guy. And, and did you notice that he had the children in his car that weren't his? And whatever it is, it'll be
it's
like
classic. It's the classic over the washing line. You know me, I don't like to gossip.
Yeah. You didn't hear this from me.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I don't like to spread rumors about the neighbors, but that lady in 42.
Yeah. She's having trouble with her finances because I heard her on the phone with Canada Revenue, and
that's right.
Didn't sound good. Didn't.
Brothel? What makes you think that? My husband's never been happier.
So you put out what number comedy album is this for you?
This is my first comedy album.
Oh, I thought you had done one before. Why did I think that?
No, because I should have done one by now. To be fair, but
okay.
Trying to be a full-time comedian and having a full-time job, and having 2 kids who admittedly don't live in this province, so it's not like I'm trying to play the single father card. But despite how hard I've worked at comedy, I still feel that if I was in my 20s and started this when I should have, I would have that freedom to have been to be ahead of where I am.
Right.
Not that I'm not happy with my progress. I think 2025 has been just an unbelievable year, and I think it proves that if you're willing to work hard, we live in a modern society where you don't need a record label, you don't need a TV network, you don't need these big people to control what you do to create. So with the album, it's grassroots. I'm trying to sell it, and whatever I get from it will go to paying for my Canva subscription for the year, my CapCut subscription for the year.
Right.
You're
trying to raise money for your tools, basically.
I'm trying to raise money for my tools because that's one thing that's really lacking is social media, and I think I could do a decent job of it with a bit of practice, and I think it's the way to get people and eyeballs on your product, which is comedy. It's the way to get people to come out to the clubs, which even though our robot appliances won't like us leaving the house,
right?
I still think the clubs are important.
Once I figure out how to fuck my Roomba, I'm never leaving the house.
I'm shocked you've taken time away from that mission to join us here today, Brad.
Well, there were some injuries, so
I could only imagine. Maybe not start with the Roombot. Maybe go back. Maybe start a little bit analog and go with the central vac to start with. You modify the attachment on the end. I personally like the one with lots of bristles.
Okay. For your pleasure, bristled for pleasure.
Bristles for pleasure. If I could afford central vac, I wouldn't leave the house. Is what I'm saying.
So the album. Let me ask you this, because I haven't done one, and a lot of people do it. And I think there's like there must be some like Canadian government play that I don't know about here, or so, like like why an album versus like a
Right.
video
Okay. So
special or something else.
sure, sure. I think there's an opportunity with SiriusXM to get the album played and to make royalties off of it.
Okay,
Uh, I think as you would be a man who understands how meaningful royalties can be.
I love royalties.
Uh, yeah, I love royalties too. So yeah, so not every album. I speak like I work for SiriusXM, but uh, I hear a lot of the albums out there too, and I don't think people are putting enough thought into it. You can't, as much as you might think you can just record it on your latest iPhone. No, it's a bit more. There's a bit more to it than that. To be fair,
Right.
you gotta have someone who knows how to mic an audience. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta have someone who knows how to mix it. I worked with a guy, and I'm happy to tout his name, Dave Smith Hayes. He's a local Hamilton guy who used to be the worst dressed man in the world until he got a girlfriend. You know the type. You
Yep.
know the type,
Yep.
right? Now I gotta look good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I have a reason to look good.
I got an Armenian girlfriend and she's taking me shopping. I got to go to Jackson Square and buy a shiny suit.
And hit the dollar stores. I did a tour of Jackson Square dollar stores until I got the fit.
Yeah.
As the kids would say. No, Dave Smith Hayes, wonderful guy, and just he's a software engineer and an audio guy. The first time I met him, I love telling this story. He was walking around a bar called Zyla's where we were doing a comedy show. He was recording someone who was on the show, and he was just walking around, listening to the music, trying to like he was all spaced out, trying to figure out where best to put his microphone. And he got really excited, but he just happened to stop by me and he's like, I think it's gonna go here. I think this microphone here, it'll be great. And I'm like, okay, buddy, you do you. You know? And we also recorded it at Yuck's Burlington, which was nice to do.
Oh yeah, I love that venue.
Yeah, we got screwed by the Blue Jays on the Friday night. Only drew 60 people because a $5 billion corporation decided to fuck with me, Brad.
I hate that.
You know what I mean? Like not only that, they had to play 162 games and win enough of them just to fuck with me.
Yeah.
While I'm trying to record an album.
Yeah.
But we had a full house on night 2, and Burlington Yucks it's just low ceiling.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's perfect for recording.
150 pill. It's great for recording, and my guy Dave has done a bunch of albums in there with people like Chris Quigley and Scott Falconbridge. So. The whole process was a heck of a lot of fun, and I hope it does get on Sirius. But if not, God, I don't want to put it down, but to my mind, it's very much a first effort. You know,
like a first marriage.
Well, it's 22 minutes, and I think if you want it to be eligible for the Junos, it has to be a minimum of 35. I didn't want to burn too much material though. I thought if I get it out there into the universe and I sell it for $6, no one's going to complain if it's an EP or an LP. It's not like I'm trying to get $40-$50 out of them for it. But it gives me a good starting point, and I want to get into that rhythm of every 12 months to 18 months producing a 35-minute album. I think I'm probably kidding myself. It'll probably be closer to 2 years to 3 years, but who cares, right?
Yeah.
I love the process of doing it, and I think that to get better at comedy, it's really good to have goals. Like, what am I aiming for with this set? I'm trying to hone it down so it becomes an album. And when you really, really start looking at your jokes and start looking at your performance, the 45 minutes you thought you had becomes 30 really quick.
Yeah.
You know? Absolutely, it does. So
yeah, you hear that, you hear it back, and you're like, I'm not putting that in there. That's not going in there.
You can hear the waffle. You can hear the waffle, and you can get down to the essence of the joke, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
You had one of the fun. It's funny. Like I know a lot of comics in Toronto, and I've only met you a handful of times.
That's true.
Maybe twice or 3 times, and it was always at the Comedy Lab, which was kind of a
lovely little place,
kind of a magical place, and now a magical place in time because it's not there anymore.
Right.
But I don't know why I remember this so clearly, like it was yesterday.
Oh, I'm loving this.
But you were doing a set, and it wasn't an open mic, but it was one of the, the thing about the Comedy Lab was it was like, it was either full and sweaty, or there were like four people in the audience and the rest of us comics, right?
Yes, yes.
And it
And
was
just to give people a bit of a description, it was a place in the annex in Toronto, and it was downstairs. Like the walls were made of cement. You could be planning a revolution in this room.
it was definitely, yeah, it
Easily.
was the kind of place where you could see like a communist party being formed or something like
Yeah,
that. It was very
yeah,
very working class underground. But a lot of comedy clubs in Toronto are in basements. That, like, to be fair, almost every comedy club in Toronto is in a basement,
yeah, yeah. That's a really good point.
right?
That's a really good point.
They're
We
all
like the
under
mix.
a successful bar that didn't know what to do with the basement. Since prohibition, they have not used their basement, and
Yeah.
so it's like, okay, well, then some comedy person shows up and says, hey, I'd like to turn your basement into a comedy club, and they're like, sure you do.
You mean, yeah, I could make money off that room that's just sitting there? Yeah.
Yeah. And then 9 times out of 10, they don't make money off the room.
No.
But anyway, we're in this basement. It was one of those nights where it was just a handful of real paying customers, and the rest of us were comics. But it wasn't an open night, and I think you were going up before me or whatever. I can't remember what it was, but anyway, you were doing a set, and I don't even remember the setup. But you said this punchline that has stuck in my head, like on a
Oh,
fucking like an earworm, right? And
right.
and I'm gonna tell you the punchline because it was one of the few times, because you know how many like new comics. I'm taking a long time to set this up for a reason. You know how like you go to an open mic and there's a lot of new comics, and new male comics specifically all have some joke about their cum,
Right. Yes.
right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's
Yes.
never good.
Yeah.
It's never
Yeah.
good.
Right.
It's
Right. Yes. I
never
got you.
like, don't, if you're thinking about getting into comedy and you have jokes about your jizz, don't try not to do it. It's probably not
Or
going to be funny.
yeah.
But you had a punchline, I'm hoping you can remember this, because maybe it was just a one-off and you're like, fuck, I don't remember this joke. But all I remember is the punchline saying, but I can't legally show you my ejaculate.
Oh yeah, I do know that one. It's about the tomato diet.
Okay, the tomato diet. I see. I forgot this part.
This joke was born out of the fact that I'm usually, like, my complexion is quite red. I'm a robust Irishman
Yeah.
who probably has high blood pressure. But one time in the summer, I got terribly burnt. Like, I was super red,
Yeah.
and I went on stage, and it's a very old comedy rule, that what do you call it again? That the audience makes a judgment about you when you walk on stage, and if
Yeah.
I'm standing there with a sunburn, I thought I better address this, right?
Sure.
So I said, it's not a sunburn. I'm on the new tomato diet. All tomatoes all the time. There's been some side effects, but I say side effects because legally I'm not allowed to show you my ejaculate. And then if that gets a little laugh, I just pause and go, just pink gobs of goo.
Yeah. 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 It's
But just the word
hilarious.
ejaculate is funny.
Yeah.
That's just funny in and of itself, right? So, yeah,
But
I
just the
do
way you
that.
say, I can't legally show you, it was just like, so, because when you say I can't legally show you, you're not expecting the word ejaculate to follow that. And it was just so like, dude, it
Yeah.
just stuck in my brain. Like, I just never got rid of it.
That's great because that I have a board at home where I try and write my jokes, and I do a really bad job of it. I find I'm not a put it on a big board person. I'm a keep it in the book and it absorbs
Right.
kind of person.
Yep.
But I have seasonal jokes, and I do that joke every spring and summer, and as my opener. That'll be my opener, right? And unless I think the audience isn't ready to hear the word ejaculate
Right.
from a middle-aged man, and in case I need something softer. Uh, Anyways, yeah, but so, like, yeah, I'm looking forward to bringing that back.
Is it hit and miss then? It's one of those ones that's like sometimes it just doesn't fly.
No, no, I think it usually it either grosses them out, and that's a reaction too.
Oh
Right?
yeah, if they
So,
go ew, that's
uh,
great.
Yeah, I've often said to an audience, the groans, they feel just as good as the
They
laughs.
do. Oh my God, you're right. They do. Not everybody believes that, but I'm a firm believer. Like I'll tell the audience, I'll be like, you think you're hurting me with these groans, but these groans are feeding me just as much as your laughter. Like this tells me I'm because
Yeah.
you want to laugh, but you feel uncomfortable doing it in front of each other.
Yes,
That's what's
that's it.
happening right
That's it.
here, and
Yes.
I have a bunch of jokes that do that, and there's some of my favorites because I think they're hilarious, and if I can
Yeah.
trigger the audience a little bit and get them out of their comfort zone, I fucking love that sound. I love the
Yeah. Yeah.
mm.
It's a good point. It's like the groan is a replacement for a laugh because I don't want to be like true disgust sounds completely different
True
than that.
disgust is silence.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
silent.
Yeah. Or just a oh god.
Yeah. The that groan is coming from I want to express something,
Yeah.
but I'm afraid to, and so I'm going
Yeah.
to do this instead. And it's
Yeah.
I have a bunch of jokes that do that, Dan, and there's some of my
See,
favorites.
that's I think the real difference between your comedy and my comedy. I don't really get off and I don't think pushing buttons is the right term for it, but I'm not out there trying to stretch the audience. You know
Right.
what I mean? I'm an adorable, lovable guy, and
Yeah.
I think that comes out in my comedy. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
Yeah.
I'm bouncy. If they're putting the Teletubbies together, they'll model one after me. And you're like, so when I lie to the audience when I tell them the groans feel just as good, I want those laughs, and that's something I'm trying to work on. Is like to be a bit more willing to push the boundaries and to bomb. To say something that could potentially bomb, like a word like, well, ejaculate.
I lost you there for a second. What's that? Ejaculate what?
I said ejaculate's really funny. It's never gonna bomb, is it?
No, no. It's just a funny word.
Yeah. I do have to ask, and I'm not rushing away, but how much longer do you want to do this?
I can go for another 10 minutes or so.
That would be wonderful. I completely forgot I've got a 10:30. I'm supposed to be calling someone to sell them a show for Yuck Yucks, and I probably shouldn't be admitting this on a live stream. But then again, I never said I was a good employee, did I?
I love that for you, but it's comedy. Everybody's always late, so that's okay.
Yes, that's true. That's
That's to be
true.
expected. So yeah, we won't keep you.
Yes,
We won't keep
yes.
you much longer. But
Oh,
can
but I'm enjoying this. I regret having to run away, but because I think we're just really starting to get to the meat of it, because there's in my mind, you need the Lenny Bruces of this world. You need the people who are going to push the boundaries and get stuff from the extreme
like we need people to
into
wash our
more
cars
like. Yes, let's go back to the car washing
and
analogy,
clean our
which I
house?
will talk about in a second. But I mean, just as a performer, that's not me. And I don't want to use the cliche, I would defend your right, Brad,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
say whatever you want in a children's book and touch them. Well, I wouldn't defend that at all. If it does come out that you're a pedophile, I'm going to need this tape, is what.
I see. Yeah, yeah.
You didn't know? I'm like, I thought he was joking.
He said he was, but I thought it was part of his bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly. I'm going to need to set you to write a disclaimer. Sorry, what did
Tell
you
us
want to
the
come
name
back
of the
to?
comedy album and how we can find it if
Oh
nobody.
yeah, oh yeah, we forgot to do the plug. So it's called New Shoes, and it's got a beautiful picture of a white pair of Adidas on the front, and it includes tracks like "War with the U.S.," "My 51st State," uh, "Trials and Tribulations of My Middle-Aged Dating Life," and getting caught by my parents smoking weed.
And it starts off with an epic roast of the city of Brantford.
Uh, well, yeah, kind of. I love that Brantford joke. I really do. And I have to give credit to Pat McDonald. He really helped me tighten that one up because it used to be a little bit clunkier, but he made it really smooth. So I shouldn't say that because if I do get royalties for it, he'll be all over me like a dirty shirt, won't he?
Let me ask you this: have you ever written a joke that you thought was hilarious that you just could never make work?
100%. I got loads of those jokes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can
And
you can you give us one that like you just wish was
but
funny?
that's
Like it makes you laugh, but the audience just never could get around. Every time you tried a different version of it, it just didn't fly.
uh, that yes, I can give you a
Okay.
perfect example. I've tried to do this in every city because it's kind of along the lines of that Brantford joke where I talk about traveling around, being, going everywhere and then just naming towns that are within an hour's drive.
Yeah.
But I do this thing where I go to Niagara Falls. I'm like, it's great to be here in Niagara Falls, performing, because I only ever come here when Irish relatives come over to visit the falls. You guys know the falls, Niagara River dropping off into the gorge, millions of liters of water cascading over the. Oh crap! I have to pee. And that's the joke.
Right.
And no one ever fucking laughs. But god damn it if I don't bring it out 4 or 5 times a year at Taps in Niagara Falls when I'm down there on a Tuesday. Try just one day. One day, some lonely woman who's wandered in from the cold,
Yeah.
who's my age, will sit down and she will laugh at that joke really, really hard. And I will introduce her and make the next 10 years of her life completely miserable.
I was in Burbank, California, doing a comedy festival at I did a bunch of gigs while I was out in LA, and I was talking to Jay Rainville on the phone, and he was like, "Hey,"
Right.
he was like, try to come up with like a joke about Burbank. And he's like, that's where you're staying. I said, yeah. And he's like, so like walk around the town, and he's like, try to see something that other people would recognize and say it, say, oh, it's great to be in Burbank. I'll never forget the first time, blah, blah, blah. Right.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing. And so I was like, okay. And so I'm walking around Burbank, and I'm observing the weirdest behavior, because it's like, I don't know if you've ever been, but it's like the place where like Hollywood retires.
Right.
So it's like all like old show business people who live in these like little apartments and whatever. But then there's also like a homeless population, and there's all this stuff.
Right.
And I saw this like naked homeless lady walking around. She was like half naked walking around with a shopping cart. I saw her multiple days right around the comedy club, Flappers, where I was performing. And I'm like,
I have a vague idea where this is going.
And all I said, and it just didn't work. But because anytime you put homeless in a joke, it's like 90% chance it's going to fail, 10% chance it's going to be amazing, and there's like no in between. You're either a horrible person because you made fun of the homeless, or that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. And unfortunately, it didn't go well. I just said, it's my first time in Burbank, which was a lie. I'm like, it's my first time in Burbank, and I'll never forget it's the first time I saw homeless tits, and it just didn't fly, and I was like, and I had them the whole time. Up until then, and I'm like, this is where we go off the rails, homeless tits. This is where I failed, and then they start laughing again when you attack them for not liking the joke or whatever, right? But I'm like that. Yeah. Like I was so upset that didn't work, because I was like, this is my only chance to say homeless tits, and it just didn't work.
I feel like if you came to a town like Hamilton or Welland, and I feel, as great as homeless tit sounds, it's a new concept for people to hear.
Yeah.
So you have to introduce it a little slowly. You know what I mean? Like,
I just hit them over the head like a baseball bat.
I've seen homeless people. I've never seen naked homeless people before.
Right.
Homeless tits. That's what I'll remember about your town.
Yeah. Homeless foreskin.
Yeah.
Just like you got to find the homeless ejaculate. That's the first time I've ever seen.
Yeah, and then in the interest of equality, I came across a homeless man.
Yeah. Those are my favorites. Are like when I talk to comedians, I always like to ask them that question, because they're my favorite jokes are the ones that you think are funny, but the audience just never connected with. And it's like, okay, what was it? Is there something missing there? And sometimes when you talk to another comic like you'll be like, well, maybe it's because you could have said it this way. There's always like another approach.
Yeah.
But that one is kind of like, it's like I could use it. You're right. I could use it anywhere, but it's just one of those things where it was like in a moment in time, sometimes you just make the joke. That's like I did a show at Yucks once, and I was like, okay, I'm going to make this joke, and it's going to be my opener. And it's either going to fucking do well or not do well. And the guy who was introducing me, he was calling every comic brother. He was like, this guy's like a brother to me. And then he introduced me, God. And then he didn't call me brother. And so I went up And I was the headliner, so it was like everybody before me was brother. But then he's like,
Right.
"This is a good friend of mine," and I went up and I just turned and he'd left the stage, and I just turned to him and I was like, "You didn't call me brother." And then he comes running back to the stage to be like, "Oh, no, 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 no! You're my brother. You're my." And I'm like, "No, no, no! Stay, get away, go away, go away." And then I turned to the audience and I said, "He didn't call me brother, but he treats me like a brother." I took a nap in the green room and I woke up with his balls on my forehead. And they loved it, and it was like, it was a magical time where it was like, okay, I thought of this joke 2 minutes before walking up on stage.
Yeah.
And they'll never be able to do it again, but it's either going to be really funny or they're going to think it's stupid and it's going
Yeah.
to set the tone, and it just worked, you know?
Well, see that's an act of bravery, and when those risks pay off, it feels really, really good.
Yeah.
Right now, your challenge is controlling that high
Yeah.
while you do the rest of your set,
Yeah.
right? But I love to get the first joke in, and you've hit on something else there. I think in this world of reels and video and everything, comedy shows really come alive when the audience, whether it's a perception or it actually is real, when the audience thinks they're seeing something that's not going to be repeated.
Yeah.
So callbacks from one comedian's
Yeah.
joke, comments about things that are going on in the audience. I hate shows that are all crowd work. I think that's lame, but you have to have a touch of it just
Yep.
to give it that sense of, wow, we saw something tonight that nobody else will see,
Yeah.
right? Like that's part of the illusion, I think. So
Yeah,
not to ruin it
that's
for
part of the
people.
excitement is we're here in this vacuum in time, and there's these things happening that are part of the holistic show that can't be captured in a reel. Like you said, it's like, if you're calling back to something that another comedian said or something that we know about the audience because it was revealed earlier, that's not going to work in a reel because you don't have that other clip. You don't have, and even
Yeah.
if you did and you tried to set it up, it's missing that gap in time. It's missing all the elements that made it funny in the room.
Yeah.
And you're right.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of that.
And that goes back to what we were saying at the beginning about, what I said about I'll never be as funny as your best friend,
Right.
right? Because he's had 20 years of pressing your buttons or whatever long it might be. Once again, pressing buttons is not the right expression, but
Yeah.
the nuance and the subtlety is there, and just like, what are you two laughing about? And he could never explain what they were laughing about, right?
No.
So, yeah, good fun.
Well, listen, I know you've got to get on with a phone call, so I don't want to keep you, but I appreciate you coming on and talking about your album and kind of the.
Yeah.
I wanted to really know the business side of it and sort of how where you saw that going. So I've heard people say that before about XM, and I think that's it's an interesting take, and I wonder what kind of money that actually shakes out to. Like, I wonder who the best Canadian album royalties looked like. Like, is it like getting a check from Spotify where like, I made a comedy album and they played it 600 times on XM and I made 75 cents, or is it
Right,
like,
right.
is it, I wonder what kind of money it shakes out to, but I hope it's good for you.
Yeah. I don't know. It's almost like some sort of mystery income, but I don't even know if it'll get approved. As you can imagine, as you said, there's loads of albums out there and loads of people with way more experience, way more exposure, and a bigger name than me. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm quite happy. I'll have my download cards. There's a lovely business on Lock Street here in Hamilton called The Local Life, which is going to be selling my download cards for me. And I will be making them and printing them and pushing myself to always do new material that's not on the album.
Yep.
So that when I'm at a show, I can say, look, I got an album, right?
Yeah, and it's
That
not
was
what
kind
you
of
just
always the
heard.
goal.
Yeah, it's not what you just heard. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think Chris Rock said this recently, or recently came back. It's not like the music business where, like, if you go see Led Zeppelin, you want to hear the hits, right? Comedy, if I put out an album, you listen to the album, then you come and see me, and it's the same thing, you're going to think that's all I can do. And I don't want you to think that.
It's funny. I'm one of the few comics who has the luck of, I have these books that people want to hear, and I've actually done shows with people who have been to other shows, and they're like, "How come you didn't read that book?" I'm like, "I read it at the last show." They're like, "Yeah, but it's my favorite book. I wanted to hear it again." I'm like, "These are like
Right.
fucking songs for people." They're like, they want to hear them. They've heard them
Right.
online, and then they're like, and then I go pull a book out of a box, and if it's a new book, it doesn't get the cheers that like a classic, like, 5-year-old book that I pull out, and they're like, "Oh my God, I love that one. It's my favorite," and they brought their friend to hear it. And I'm like, You want to hear that thing? Like that
Yeah.
thing that I'm sick of? You want to hear it again?
Right. Yeah. That's a really, from a revenue point of view, that's a really great place to be, Brad.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I can see
yeah,
you with an armchair. You know what I mean? A smoking jacket, and then when you get up, of course, you're wearing nothing below.
yeah.
There's the show. That's an act I'd pay $25 for.
That's the show. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Just sitting in a smoke. Okay, Steve Coogan did something like that where he was like in a smoking jacket. It was quite clear that he was not wearing pants, and then he just kept crossing his legs throughout, crossing and uncrossing. And you're like, I'm not listening to the message anymore,
I
Steve.
think I would
What's
wear
the song?
women's panties. I think that would be my thing. Is I'd wear panties.
That's a good idea. That's
Yeah,
a really good idea. I think that needs to be normalized, and I think you're just the man to do it.
I might be. Dan,
One
thanks for
kink at a
hanging.
time.
Thanks for hanging out on the live stream and recording this with me. I'll send you the video as well so that you have it. And if you want to clip farm it, great. And I'll clip farm it, and together we'll create some crops.
That's that's it. We'll water, and then we shall reap our rewards. Thanks, Brad. I really enjoyed that chat. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, me too. Have a good one.
And just last to say that people can follow me on Instagram at Comedy Things Dan Brennan, and please do grab a copy of New Shoes.
And I'll tag you in all the videos as well. Comedy Things, Dan
Magical, buddy.
Brennan.
Yeah, I can sell enough. I can get my cap cut, and I can farm too.
I love that.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, buddy.
You have the power, people.
Have
Talk
a good
soon,
one.
buddy.
See ya.
Later.
Bye.